Alright, might as well continue on the value subject since we're there. Yeah, just beat it to death. Go over it again and again. So anyway, the real substance is I left off on the Hythloday video. Disagreement isn't really about the negative function. They're conceding the negative function of life. The fact that suffering exists, and gee, it'd be really cool if it didn't. In a lot of cases, in most cases, in 99.99% of cases, it'd be nice to get that nasty bit extracted. But they perceive that the game is worth it, that the suffering, although egregious, is worth it by their arbitrary math. And they're saying all the math is always arbitrary, and I guess I'm saying it's not arbitrary. It can be logically examined, it can be torn apart, and we can pick it apart. We can pick apart what we're claiming to have value and see it that has no value. And that's sort of like the Benatar asymmetry kind of does. It kind of points out the obvious, that your non-existence is not a negative state. You don't go to a negative place. You just go to a place where you don't need anything. Where you don't manifest a problem in need of resolution. The end of your existence is only an end to your perception of a need. That's it. You need to exist because you exist, because you're afraid not to exist. It's not more complicated than that. You're afraid of the end. You're not for any rational reason, for emotional reasons, for physiological, biological, DNA-induced reasons, largely. Certainly culture brainwashes us into a very aggressive, live hard kind of mode, and that's, seize the day kind of bullshit. And that's, that does prey on our psychology. It does affect who we become, what the average person becomes, that brainwashing, that conditioning into the game of life, into it's alive, this magnificence that we're accomplishing, we're sentient, we only do this once, you only live once, all that kind of propaganda, instills in us a grand appreciation, an affection almost, for our desire, rather than a perception of desire for what it is, which is this mechanism that obliges us, compels us to keep chasing, to never be finished. And that's, not logical. So the real examination needs to be on this, the definition, the establishment of the true credibility of this positive component. Now, not the positive component in that, I saved somebody from drowning, let's say. Now, the positive component in the short run seems obvious. They won't suffer the unpleasantness of drowning. Their loved ones won't have the grief of loss. But the truth is, they're going to die another day. The truth is, they might die horribly slowly, and piece at a time. And so I've sort of imposed that on them by saving them. So I stop them from dying quickly and badly, but quickly, and imposed on them dying slowly and horrifically. And yes, the little bits in between those two events, the living, yes, they got to see sunsets, and they got to chase ambitions, and they got divorced. They had all this plus and minuses of life pursuit, of playing the game. And so to these people I'm arguing with, apparently, that's where all the value is. The value is in these pursuits, in this chasing of the ambition. I will accomplish. I will be famous. I will do this. I will make him love me or her. I will, and these are what people live for. And again, I'm just going to argue that that's interesting, but those are all projections of value. So again, I want to focus on this argument that the distinction is between two kinds of reality. One that is overtly reeks of value, sentient being in front of me, writhing in pain. I have Novocaine or whatever, lidocaine, whatever. I can take away their pain. I do it. Good thing accomplished. That value is fundamental. It is unrewritable. It's just a truth. Eliminating the suffering was a good thing to do. It's just on its face good. Where these ambitions we have, me being famous, me being adequately loved, somehow that projection of value is just in my head. The only way that needs to happen is because I need it. I want it. Not because it is intrinsically or fundamentally a good thing. I can't even argue necessarily it to be a good thing, because we see the failure rate of people that get what they want. Much of life is losing at the right time, not winning the gold medal, because that keeps you in the game. That keeps you motivated, and might keep you out of the alcoholism or the egoism or the other crap that can totally destroy you. A rough day. Anyway, so there's a difference between things that have value intrinsically, something in a harmful state in need of resolution, and birthday cake. One has intrinsic value because value is being endured. One is a projection that I will gain gratification by consuming the cake. And so it's a future, maybe, perhaps, value acquisition, but there's no guarantee of that acquisition, and the acquisition is in itself kind of superficial compared to the extent of our desire. Our desire outweighs the real value of the 5 minutes of fun we'll have eating the cake. Yeah, and that's the truth of it. The weight of the compulsion is much bigger than the actual value of the life experience. If we were to have those experiences put on the sides of the scales, the harsh experiences you'll endure, the hours and hours of them, and the total amount of birthday cake eating or fun or whatever you want to call it, the balance is going to be ludicrous. And it's desire that tips the scale. Desire breaks the real equation, the real math. Desire enables us to cheat the reality. That kind of preference prejudice mechanism built on top of this fundamental need mechanism built out of the fact that we have to consume food, hunger, sex, that's tied to ego, status in society, accomplishment. Those things are all components of sexuality in the sense that they affirm our completeness. That's why they exist as motivators inside of us. It's because they make us more aggressive in living, more aggressive in seizing control, dominating. Our DNA goes into the future, theirs doesn't, because we play this ego game better than they do. And that's part of our psychological makeup, just as hunger is part of our psychological makeup. These other hungers for acquisition, our insatiability in a sense. If I give you something, you'll want more. You'll want version 4, then version 5. You'll want the next edition. You'll want it more perfect. Yeah, more perfect. Your eyes do wander for flaw, for something to be fixed. That's the mechanism of the machine. And the fix always has to do with this attainment of a kind of perfection of perception, of having the fantasy, the perfect world, perfect circumstance, whatever. Perfect experience, supposed to be the better word. Yeah, to have it just right, the porridge just right, our striving to find just right porridge. Alright, so in dissection, all of this projected value of the, it'd be very good if I have birthday cake, is the whole thing, the whole engine, the whole definition of our accomplishment. We say we need to be here as a human species because we're so cool. I'm sorry, that's about all I can paraphrase the argument as. What else do they have? Pretty much that's all they're saying. Humans are so cool that, gee, it would be just awful if they didn't exist because they are so cool. And logically, that can be unraveled so easily, just by pointing out all the super cool stuff that doesn't exist right now, that never existed, that we don't lament its non-existence. We don't go, ain't that awful that there are no double humans. We just don't do that. We don't worry about the non-existent civilizations, the non-existent, other worldly, planetoid living beings. We think about even historical civilizations and, go, oh, isn't it too bad? But, I mean, come on. The depth of our concern is non-existent in terms of a real reaction that has as a component any real negative understanding, like it's really a horrible or bad thing. No, we just negate it because it's not us, and that just makes it so obvious how this is just psychology screaming, I'm important. Not facts, not reality, not something in the truth here. Not a truth telling us that we are great. It's us telling us we're great. It's not an authoritative opinion. It's a subjective, ego-driven, personally, selfishly motivated entity claiming function and purpose and accomplishment. And that's the zero-sum math. That this is fundamentally, you can't go anywhere here because there isn't anything of real substance accomplished here. There's a game board, there's pieces being manipulated, some of them harmed horribly, and there really isn't any game to play. There will be no winner of the game. There are no There are no gods playing game with us as pawns. There is no accomplishment in the game play. The game play just disposes of pieces. I mean, I've said that before, and I think it's as good a metaphor as there is. But that's all this game does. It just disposes of pieces and then replaces them with a new piece. Just to do it again, just to dispose of it again, and then dispose of it again, and dispose of it again. It just keeps disposing of pieces, keeps pushing the old off and creating the new. So this is a point that also has to be brought up over and over again, because people won't argue the real subject here. So I guess I'll go here, even though I wanted to save it for later as a further response. But I watched a little more Hythloday video, and again he confuses antinatalism and ephalism with a statement about whether he is entitled to live out his life to satisfy his desire. Certainly it's a commentary on the futility of that practice, but it doesn't say you're not allowed to be addicted. It's conceding you're addicted. It's conceding that we can cut you slack for that addiction. What it's arguing is you have no right to impose on the new checker, to put it at risk of disposal in a negative way for your satisfaction. Unless you have a rational reason to put that new checker on the board, you have no right to put it on the board. That's the argument. The argument's about perpetuating the game, not playing the game. Now that you're here, play it. But don't impose it. Don't perpetuate it. Don't make it permanent. And that's what you're arguing that you have a right to do. And that's very different. It's very different from living your life and imposing life. Those aren't the same thing. Not even close. So, again, they always want to go off subject and argue that I'm somehow saying you have to kill yourself, or you have to do this, or you have to... No, all you have to do is not support or defend or participate in the imposition. That's where your right ends. You don't have a right to impose. It's not supposed to be raining, and it is. I checked the radar. Damn. That's all I can say. It's going to be one of them days. But they're all, almost all, one of those days. Especially lately. Really rough. Anyway. Alright, so, this is... I mean, it's quite... the Benatar asymmetry, the idea that, look, there's harm involved here, there's risk, and that we can sort of understand that the need to do it is vacuous. It's based on my ego. My ego thinks I need to be here. My ego thinks I'm cool, I'm accomplishing. What I'm going to do is so cool. That's my ego. It's not reason, it's not rationality. So the idea that I somehow think it needs to continue, this is just nonsense. It's psychological rubbish. And it can be understood to be that. And it can be understood that there is no purgatory in non-existence. The Venetians are not sitting in purgatory right now. They're not suffering in some non-existent jail going, oh, why don't we exist? Why don't the humans make us exist? Why don't they give us life? None of that's happening. And none of it will happen when we don't exist. There'll be no loss to the universe. There'll be no loss of meaning or function. There just won't. And what you will lose is all of this suffering. You'll get it. You'll have it for free now. It's a free lunch. Yeah, okay, it's not much food value, but you don't need food value when you've got a stomach anymore. So it's really not that complicated. Anyway, this weather's really pissing me off. I mean, really, the weather was hundreds of miles away. Well, a few hundred. Well, a couple hundred. Well, a lot. So, I really shouldn't be getting this wetness thing happening. Not that it matters that much, but I really am running on empty. Just not right. Haven't been right for a long time. And it's irritating not to be myself. But anyway, not that myself is all that great, but it's just better than this. This is really a death march kind of thing. Ducks. Water off a duck's back and such. Little mallards. Doing a little mallardy thing. So anyway, till the next time. So again, I mean, I haven't done this quite as good as it needs to get done to really truly explain that what you think, your ambition, your desire, you've got to look at these things and understand what they are. They're manifestations of your ego, your aggrandizement of yourself, and they aren't reflections of anything real. And the suffering is real. Anyway, till the next time and such, so forth and whatnot. Go look at what I have to do today.